What's going on, guys? Getting in the green. We got some Week 6 NFL for you. Per usual, we'll go position by position, kind of give you some top plays and a few sleepers there if you need to kind of fit them in. So, yeah, let's get this thing kicked off with quarterbacks.
Interesting week. I mean, there's some high scoring games, some big names here at the top. So start, with the two top dogs kind of separating themselves from a price standpoint. Kyler Murray, Mahomes, 7,900, 8,300. Both have good games here. Arizona's playing Cleveland. Kansas City's playing Washington.
Mm.
For me, I'm much more on Mahomes here. We've already talked about this a little bit in our preview show. We think Arizona Cleveland might be a little lower scoring than people think. Everybody's high on obviously the Arizona offense and coming off that Cleveland Chargers game. But especially with the recent news with all the COVID, the coaches are going to be out, the play calling's going to be different. I like Mahomes here. Washington's D is not good. I think the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely need to come out and make a serious statement here. And Mahomes himself needs to come make a statement. I like the game. I think Washington's also going to be able to score in Kansas City's D. So looking for a shootout here. If you're going to pay up, I'm going Mahomes at 8,300. Even though in a second here, I think you and me agree most value is going to be kind of in those middle guys. But if I'm going to pay up, I'm going Mahomes over Murray.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I put a Mahomes stack together, but that's kind of it. I mean, you've got to save the money somewhere, and you get a nice little, $800, $900 discount here off to these next guys that have the same better game script, same floor, same upside. So I mean, we'll kind
Let's
of
go
drop
right
into
now.
that bottom tier, and we'll go Lamar Jackson kind of down to Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
Um, Honestly, every guy in this range is a pretty solid play. But I mean, for me, I'm going to be sticking at the top at 7,400 with Lamar Jackson. I think that game is going to be high scoring for the week. He's just on an absolute tear. Second half of games, I mean, this guy's just taking over when he needs to. Um,
Yep.
and I, for as much as the Chargers are going to score the opposite way, I mean, they're not going to stop this guy on the ground. So I can
No,
see him
I agree
over
with
100
you.
yards and a couple touchdowns. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Lamar is my play of the week. He's going to be my heaviest percentage quarterback here. I like him tournament style. I like him cash style as well. Um, Baltimore Chargers is my game of the week from a fantasy perspective, and I do think Lamar obviously has more upside with his legs, so he will be my number one played quarterback. However, I will be playing quite a bit of Herbert too. I do love this game in general. I think they both have this kind of interesting, different style of upside. Also depends how you think this game is going to go. But I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson as my number one, Herbert as my close number two here. Not to say that I don't like Rodgers or Dak. Can't play him in the situation with those two guys there. Stafford's interesting to me at 6,700. You actually, you are saving, 700 bucks there from Lamar. I don't have a problem paying Stafford. I am going to put him in some of my lineups, but Lamar Jackson Herbert is going to be where I'm living this week.
yeah, I'm going to touch a little bit. I do like Rodgers. Both times they played the Bears last year, he threw 4 touchdowns each game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he absolutely owns that Bears team. The pressure that they try to get with Khalil is just not quick enough for him. Um, I do like Rodgers, and I think Green Bay dominates that game as well. So
And again, when we talk about percentages here, where I'm not as much on Rodgers this week, but you know, Lamar Jackson and Herbert are probably going to be two of the most played quarterbacks this week.
yeah,
Rodgers, I'm assuming that percentage is going to be pretty low. Just Chicago does have a pretty decent defense, so if you see that playing out, you can have a big advantage there
yeah,
from a
absolutely.
different.
I do think Dak has a good game, but in like you said, in this price range with these other guys right there, I just won't be getting too much of him. Um,
Yeah,
I also think his ownership will be higher than Rodgers just because of the kind of run they've been on in Dallas, kind of with the offense. So I don't want to say I'm fading Prescott, but I just don't feel like. I mean, if I could save 400 going to Stafford, or I pay another 200 or 300 get Herbert Jackson, just makes more sense.
all right, let's go down to the next tier, which is pretty much almost every quarterback here. 5,400 Wentz up to Joe Burrow at 6,300.
Mhm.
I'm going to touch a little bit at the top guy here. I'm not playing too much of him because you're just close to getting those other guys, especially Stafford. But I don't mind Joe Burrow at 6,300. He's looked good. He's got his receivers kind of back at full strength. I know he's coming off some weird injuries this week. He is playing, though. They said he's healthy. I think he's got a really good matchup here with Detroit. Don't mind the play at 6,300. I'll mix that a little bit of a Cincinnati stack in there. But again, not a super highly played guy for me, but don't mind him in this price range.
Yeah, Burrow, I mean, scares me slightly because, I mean, we'll get into it at running back. I really love Mixon this week. Detroit can't stop the run. Cincinnati wants to be a run-first team to protect Burrow. But, I mean, it's a prime matchup, and that guy could definitely go off here. The one for me in this price range, though, is going to be Heineke down at 5,800. And
Great matchup.
it's just the game script. Kansas City can't stop anybody. Kansas City's going to score on Washington. You know, Heineke's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns here. And at 5,800, it's not going to be that hard for him to hit that, 20, 22 points as value. So I really like Heineke in this game script here.
Then one more name I just want to throw out here. I'm really not recommending the play because of all the risk involved with the injuries. But considering he's got some of his receivers back, Daniel Jones at 5,500, even with the tough matchup on the Rams, very interesting tournament play for me. If he's healthy, doesn't kind of have any of that concussion things going on, is able to get to his receivers, even if it's garbage time, even if the Rams are beating him up, he's a sneaky play to score over 20, no problem here, with his legs as well involved.
Yeah, he's going to take off running.
Definitely can't recommend him with all that went on last week, but an interesting play, especially I would put at least one together for a tournament.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I kind of drew the line for quarterbacks. There's not really anything else down there unless you're just trying to take some shots with some stacks. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, we're living in that mid-range, and then if you can pay it for Mahomes, you can't ever go wrong with that. So just kind of decides, though. And when we get into running backs, we'll kind of see why we were trying to save some money. There's some guys up here at the top that we really like.
Yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, at the very top, we'll talk about big news that just happened. McCaffrey, who was looking like he had a good chance to play this week, not only was he ruled out, just got moved to the IR, so going to miss the next 3 weeks minimum. Definitely a shakeup for fantasy football on the top there. He kind of the most expensive guy, 8,800, is out for the extended period of time here. So who do you like in his place there?
Yeah, I mean, so now we got to start it at Eckler. When the most expensive running back on the week is $7,900, there's going to be some interesting plays. But so Eckler at 7,900, I really like. Again, we'll no reason to kind of go back down the rabbit hole of how that game's going to play out. But Eckler's involved in passing. He's the closest thing to McCaffrey you can get right now as far as targets, routes run. The guy's an absolute monster. And if there's going to be points scored, Eckler's going to be a part of it.
I'm with you. He is my running back of the week, play of the week. Obviously, I still think there's value at 7,900 for him. It's not like he's a steal. It's not like you can fit him in every lineup. But from a pure fantasy perspective, he is going to be my running back player of the week this week.
Yeah, and then after that, let's kind of break this up. Let's go. Most of these guys are out. So we've got Cook, Aaron Jones, and Elliott left in the 7,000s. I don't trust Cook coming back.
No, I don't trust him either. I know he practiced this week. Madison looked great. I still think they're going to ease him in a little bit. Carolina's not the best matchup anyways. I'm with you. I don't think he's a good play this week.
Aaron Jones against that Chicago run D, I don't actually love it. Aaron Jones has that 40-point pop potential, but he also can definitely screw you over with a 10, 15-point performance.
Yep. Probably not playing that price this week.
And then Zeke, I do like. I do like Zeke at 7,100. New England's terrible against the run this year. I could see Zeke continuing to eat there in that spot.
And just talk about back to old Zeke of the consistency standard of just everybody freaked out week one. And, I mean, Zeke's been extremely consistent since then. He still has the boom that he's always had, but he's a very safe play here. He's very safe to get you 20 points minimum, and really he's been he has had some of the booms. Scored 28 last week, 23, 26 the week before. Very safe play there. I'm with you. I think you're still getting a steal here at 7,100 for the
Yeah.
type of usage and offense he's on.
Yeah, I agree. Then, I mean, there's some interesting, I mean, the 6,000 range. The problem for me this week is like I'm only playing two running backs on each lineup, and there's like four guys that I want to kind of rotate in there. So I've just been making decisions. But for me, I'll talk. I do like Taylor, but his usage scares me. The fact that they're running Mac, they're running Hines. You just don't know if you're going to lose one of those touchdowns to those guys.
Yeah, I'm agree. I think he's a little bit too expensive for me at 6,600, especially with one of the two other guys we're going to talk about at this price range. I also believe Jonathan Taylor's going to be extremely highly played this week.
Yep.
Obviously, came off a huge game, has a great matchup with Houston, but you take away that 77-yard catch, and he's a pretty normal game. I mean, a good game, but not an amazing game. And I don't think you can count on that every week. I agree. The usage does scare me 50-50. Much safer with the next two guys we're going to talk about in this price range. One being Mixon, which I'll let you take, Corey. I know you're really high on him.
Yeah.
And
So
Taylor from a usage standpoint
yeah,
gets it all.
Mixon's going to get 20 plus carries here. He only had 10 carries last game. They kind of eased him back, and there was a little concern that is he healthy, but they're not even bringing Perrine in. So I think Mixon's going to get a full run kind of at this thing.
And a good matchup as well.
Oh, yeah. And they got the matchup with Detroit, so they should roll here, definitely.
All right, the next guy for me, it's very similar to last week. As soon as we heard Dalvin Cook was out, Madison was a must play. We put him in every lineup.
Yeah.
Same scenario here. Kareem Hunt at $6,200. Chubb's been ruled out, put on the IR. Kareem Hunt was already a guy that you would have to think about playing anyways. Before Chubb was ruled out, he's had some big games. He's gotten some red zone usage already. He's about to be the bell cow on an offense that runs first, has a great offensive line. He catches passes out of the backfield. Slam dunk must play here. I'm going to have Kareem Hunt on every one of my lineups just about.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to put that guy in, man. He's been scoring 20, splitting the backfield. That offensive line is insane. This guy's going to absolutely roll here. All right, guys, let's move into Darrell Henderson, who's just got a prime matchup here against the Giants. The split with Sony Michel's not really a split anymore, but it does kind of scare me at the red zone, especially if they're up big. But, I mean, as far as cash goes, and even in tournament, I think Darrell Henderson's a great play this week.
Safe, very safe. For me, from watching, I feel like he hasn't fully been unleashed yet. He looks really damn good running the ball. He's averaged every game he's played. He's averaged 16 to 17 points, very consistent, great cash play, and I do think he's due one of these weeks to just get a couple more catches, get in the end zone a few more times, and have that 25, 30-point game. So maybe it's this week, maybe it's not. Extremely safe play at 6,000. Definitely still has that boom potential as well for me.
Yeah, I agree. And then we do kind of have like a drop off here after that, and it's not like a drop off in potential, but as far as safety goes, we're kind of at that mark. Those are the guys that are guaranteed. Now we drop in. We've got a couple names. I'll start with Booker here, taking place for Saquon Barkley. I like Booker as a running back. I think he's going to catch some passes here. He's going to run the ball, but tough matchup. I just don't feel safe with Devin Booker.
Yeah, and he's not that cheap. He's 5,400.
Exactly.
And the guys we just talked about, 6,000. And honestly, even Hubbard at 5,900, if we're talking about backup running backs,
yeah,
I like Hubbard better at 5,900. Don't love Hubbard for the same reason I just said, because I'd much rather play Henderson and Hunt there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a little too much in a tough matchup against the Rams. I'm with you. For me, I'm going to have to go a little bit farther down, and I actually do like this play a lot. There obviously is still risk. We haven't seen him as the starter. I am playing Darrell Williams at 4,900 in a lot of my lineups here. First off, I just like him better matchup-wise and potential-wise than Booker. I think he is on a better offense, catches a lot of passes, and I love this game. For points scored, I think he's very safe at 4,900 to get you 15 in this game in PPR. So interesting play, and obviously has massive boom potential because you're on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and yeah, prime matchup. That game looks really good. Um, the last one we could touch on is Herbert for Chicago now with the Damian Williams news as well. So it's just another guy we haven't seen enough of. Watched some tape on him. He did look good last week, but I could see Chicago getting behind here and not using him. They didn't throw him the ball.
Exactly.
So I don't know what that offense is going to look like. But look, if you need to slide somebody in, I mean, 4,600 is a pretty good price to get a running back here in week 6. So
Definitely playable is going to be a big part of the strategy. It's just the offense. You're dealing with Chicago versus a couple $100 more Kansas City at 4,900.
Yeah,
that's about it for running back. So
I agree. Play the top. I mean, that's where I'm going to be. That Eckler to Henderson, basically, that is the sweet spot for running backs for me this week. So I've had a hard time even just fitting all the guys I want in. So no need for me to. I haven't been scouring the bottom there for value at running back.
All right, let's move into receivers. And interesting. Top receivers here. Every one of them has a case to be the top dog this week. You can't really go wrong. The only issue is they're all really expensive. Let's go.
And we're getting to another tier of receiver now because these guys are dominating. Like $9,000 for Davante Adams.
Yeah, it's insane. It's a lot.
I mean, bro, you've got to absolutely score to make value here. I mean, we're talking 36 points is just value. You didn't crush anything at 36, and that would be him absolutely dominating a game.
He clearly has the potential. He has a safe floor. But when you look at the value of some of the running backs we named at even 7,000 versus saving $2,000 to get a guy that still has the boom potential, it's tough to pay up for Adams here. However, with that being said, I think Adams is going to have a great game. If you want to stack him with Rodgers, I get the appeal, but he is a little too much for me.
Yeah, great cash play too. If you want safety, I mean, Davante Adams is the epitome of safety. The guy is going to score every week. The next guy, I think, is going to have that boom week, but the injury risk and again the price point just makes Tyreek Hill hard to play at 8,500.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get too much into this now because we'll touch on it later. I like Tyreek Hill. We've talked about how much we like the Chiefs' offense, but a little bit later when we're about to talk about tight ends, really hard for me to pay for Tyreek Hill. But you can get Kelsey at 7,000. They have just about the exact same potential, $1,500 saving there. And with Hill being a little actually banged up all week, Kelsey might actually be the safer play this week compared out of the two of them.
Yeah, I agree. So Mike Williams banged up, but 8,100 seems like a fair price for that guy at this point. He's just an absolute monster, but I won't be touching too much of him this week, even though I do like that game.
Yeah.
After that, so we'll just run through a couple of these guys here. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Hopkins, DJ Moore. I mean, who are you looking at in that kind of stack right there?
For me, I like, even out of all the top guys, from when you base kind of the projections of scoring mixed with the price, Cooper Kupp's my guy for the top guys.
Okay.
Even his down week last week, which was obviously Woods' week to finally kind of show up and do his thing, still didn't have a bad game. Kupp ended up with 16 points. Really got tackled at the one. Should have had another touchdown there. I love him for his safety as well. And for him to be so much cheaper than a Davante Adams or a Tyreek Hill here, I don't see that. I like his value at 7,900. Still am not, in a lot of my lineups, able to afford him because we have a lot of bargains in the mid-tier. Out of the top guys, for me personally, I'm paying for Cooper Kupp at that 7,900. I think that's a fair price for him and his consistency.
Yeah, I'm not going to be touching too much up here. I do like in that next little tier, we got like McLaurin. I like McLaurin in this game. Injury risk, again, though, seems kind of be the narrative. I also want to point out, they're using the questionable tag so loosely now in the NFL.
Yeah, they are.
Wednesday, Thursday, I mean, you could scroll down the entire DraftKings board and everybody's questionable. So if McLaurin's a full go, and we kind of get a little word on that here in the morning tomorrow, I do like McLaurin against Kansas City. I think they're going to score. And if you're, playing the Heineke stacks, I definitely think he's got a place there. The next one is Jamar Chase, and for as much as this guy's an absolute monster, man, he scares me in fantasy. He seems to be the luckiest receiver in the league as far as he's just constantly catching that bomb to save his day.
Yeah.
And what happens when he doesn't catch that touchdown? He's not a volume guy. He's not.
Yeah. And it's his price for me. Like going into this week before the DraftKings prices were released, I was like, oh, I'm really interested to see where Jamar Chase ends up, the guy I want to play this week. Then I go in and see 6,700. Not that 67 is so outrageous for him. It's just I'd rather play just Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, Marquise Brown, all these guys. And not only would I rather play them straight up, you're saving money playing them. So I have a tough time playing Chase this week because of those other guys. Keenan Allen, I love this week, especially with Williams a little banged up. It's not like Keenan Allen's been playing bad at all just because he hasn't been catching those bomb touchdowns that Williams takes. Still getting the same amount of targets he always has. Still going to be in the high-flying offense, really high-scoring game. You're getting a great deal at 6,400, I think, with Allen.
Yeah, I like Keenan Allen a lot this week. I think he bounces back too, and the guy's an absolute machine. So I don't see him being held down for too long. Robert Woods is interesting, and I know there's some risk coming with it, but if he has finally kind of moved into that role in the offense, Robert Woods is a safe play, and he's just the guy can go absolutely off when he gets rolling in the middle of the field, man.
I like Woods a lot. I truly think the first few weeks of this year were more the aberration than last week. I say that because we've seen Woods season after season. Him and Kupp are interchangeable as far as being possession receivers, being valuable for their teams. You're just getting Woods thousands of dollars cheaper than Kupp here with similar potential. So love Woods at 6,100 this week. He will be on a lot of my lineups.
Yeah, and then before we get into the real bargain plays here, Marquise Brown at 5,900 I think is a great price still. The guy just consistently delivers. Sammy Watkins is on the IR now. I know they're bringing Bateman in, but you got to figure they're going to ease this rookie in after the injuries.
He'll be on a snap count. He's going to take some time to get comfortable in that offense. Don't think it takes anything away from Marquise Brown here. I know the Chargers on paper actually are a tough matchup for receivers. I don't see it in this game. I think we're getting a shootout. Marquise Brown should be having a good game, and it really is the game flow here. 5,900. I'm going to be playing a hell of a lot of Lamar Jackson. Got to take his number one receiver in my stack.
Yeah. All right, now we got a kind of interesting situation down here, and I think we're kind of. For me, it's a coin flip, and I think you like Shepard better, but we got the Giants receivers that are healthy. So we got Tony at 5,600, and then you got Shepard at 5,000. Yeah. Galladay's out, so these are the 1-2. Slayton might come in and run 3 wide receiver sets, but as far as wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, you got Shepard, Tony. I think we are in agreement that Shepard is the alpha 1 when he's healthy. Yeah. I'm slightly more scared by, returning from a hamstring injury. I just think the opportunity's there to tweak it. How healthy and explosive, and are you willing to explode on that thing? Whereas Tony's ankle injuries seem to be pretty minor. They just monitored it all week. And the guy showed absolute boom last week for us. So for me, I'm probably just going to keep riding the wave with Tony at 5,600. But where are you at on the Giants?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not necessarily recommending Shepard on a cash play. He has risk. When he got injured in that game, he only got 2 points or something like that. But from a tournament style, I prefer Shepard over Tony. They're both good. Obviously, both possession receivers, a lot of great PPR stats. They should be playing from down in this game, so a lot of passes to go around. The biggest difference is you're going to have, you have to pay $600 more for Tony. And man, does Shepard just in general get disrespected? Every time
$5,000 for a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, and every time a new receiver shows up in the Giants and Galladay and everyone's Shepard's just completely off the radar. It's just every time Shepard ever plays in a Giants game for the full game, he pretty much gets the most targets and is the number 1 receiver. So I like Shepard. I actually just really like Shepard in general at 5,000. If Daniel Jones plays, which he's cleared to play, He's still going to go to his guy Shepard. And even in the last Giants game, I know Tony was doing well with him in the game. But I feel like Tony did better once Daniel Jones was out, and that does something for me where I'm like, Shepard's still Jones's guy. That's his
Yeah.
guy. That's his safety net. I like both plays here. I like Shepard a little more. He's cheaper, and I think he has more upside for me.
Another couple guys down here. I do like T. Higgins at 5,300. The guy just absolutely dominates red zone targets from his team.
Yep.
And hasn't paid off. He came back from the injuries, but when he plays, I mean, he is their wide receiver one. I mean, I know Chase has been doing great on the outside, but you get down near the red zone and Higgins becomes the guy. Detroit's a good matchup here.
He still got 7 targets last week. He's still he's still involved in the game plan.
From there, I mean, I'm dropping down pretty far. I don't know if you have anything in the high 4,000s that you like, but I'm all the way down kind of the 4,200s after that point.
Yeah, there wasn't much there. I'm with you. 2 guys there. I'll take one. I know you'll take the other here. For me, one, this is more of a tournament style. Mecole Hardman, first game of actually being involved in the offense last week. I think they're trying to spread the ball around a little more. A lot of points, like we've already mentioned in this Kansas City-Washington game. If I know Tyreek Hill's playing, but if he's even slightly slowed up, does not have that break, I think they're going to take advantage of Hardman more. I like that play, especially tournament style, 4,200. You can do a lot with your lineup.
Yeah, and Hardman's boom. And he got 12 targets last week. That's insane for this guy. If he becomes that kind of workhorse, I mean, that's going to be good to see. I say with Hardman, the one thing I do think they start to work Josh Gordon a little more into this offense as the weeks go on. But Hardman's definitely, more acclimated with the offense. And for a team that needs to get it rolling immediately, I think they continue to feed Hardman there. But for me, at the same price, I got 4,200. I got Amon St. Brown. Quentin Cephas is now on the IR with the broken collarbone last week. It's him and Khalif Raymond, and I think the rookie's just the better receiver there of the two. He's had 8 targets the last 2 weeks. No reason to think that wouldn't just get an uptick here with the Cephas injury. And Cincinnati's shown to be beatable, and you could score on that team. So at 4,200, I think you're going to get that safety blanket that you rarely get down there, and he's definitely could go out there and get you 15 points. I'm not expecting anything crazy from the guy, but for a lot of my lineups, I needed that value play, and I feel really good about putting St. Brown. I don't see him really hurting me here.
Yep. All right, guys, let's move into tight ends here.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep this one short and sweet for you guys because there's a couple plays here and nothing else really makes sense.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm going to lead off with the first one because I'm extremely passionate about this play this week, and it's Travis Kelce at $7,000. Kelce is normally in the high 7,000s or mid 8,000 range. You're looking at a matchup that we've already talked about a bunch, Kansas City, Washington. Travis Kelce is the number one receiver on the best offense in the league, period. To get him at 7,000, just when I go back to wide receivers, you're telling me that he is priced, the number one receiver on Kansas City's priced pretty much the same as Jamar Chase, as DJ Moore, as Terry McLaurin. He's $1,000 cheaper than Justin Jefferson, who I would take Travis Kelce straight up over Justin Jefferson in points. So an absolute steal, $1,500 cheaper than Tyreek Hill. I like Kelce so much this week that not only do I think he's a great value as a tight end, I told Corey this, I have Travis Kelce in a lot of my lineups in my flex because I want to still get the value of getting a cheaper player in my tight end, and I am playing a tight end with the next guy we're about to talk about, and I have Travis Kelce in my flex in a lot of my lineups. He's in the 7,000 range. It's pretty much between him and Zeke for guys that I like better, but it's like Kelce is one of my favorite guys on the whole week, let alone a $7,000 player. And even to see Devontae Adams be $2,000 more than Kelce to me is crazy with the matchup we have.
The next guy who he's going to have insane ownership percentage this week because of what he did. But Mark Andrews at $5,200 he's just a great play there. the only reason I'm going to come off him on some of my lineups is from the ownership, like just to separate myself. But the reality is at 5,200, Mark Andrews is the play, man. The guy's working his way into being the wide receiver one for Baltimore, really. You got Marquise Brown on the outside, and then you got Mark Andrews. That's what you got. And we love the game. There's just no reason. I mean, look, there's Waller there, and it's tough to say don't take a look at Waller, but tough matchup with Denver, and who knows what's happening with that Las Vegas Raiders team. Mark Andrews is, he's safe, and he's just got an insane boom on him now.
He's an absolute steal.
Jackson's trusts him, man. He trusts him.
Yeah. Absolute steal, 5,200, especially when you look at his red zone targets, the amount of points that we think is going to be scored in this game. Yeah, this is the guy for me. He is a must-play, just like Kelce, for all the reasons we just mentioned. It's one of the – I can't think of a time I've ever done this. This is the first time that I'm recommending this play, and in the majority of my lineups, I will be playing 2 tight ends. I'll have Andrews for the value at 5,200, and I'm playing Kelce in my flex there.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, look, I'm not saying any of these other guys could end up tight end one this week, but if you're playing the numbers and you want to play safe, like you got Kelce, you got Andrews, and then that's it. I'm dropping all the way down to a Ricky Seals-Jones on a few lineups at $3,000 if money was really the factor, and that's usually when I'm stacking a couple receivers and the running backs. Yep. But, I mean, for the most part, I'm rolling out probably, I'd say, 70% Andrews here, and then I'll have the Kelce and I'll have the Seals-Jones off of that, just kind of where I ended up.
Don't overthink this one. Those are safest floors and the best ceilings.
I have a question. Is Zach Ertz going to play twice this week, or what are they doing with that guy, man? I mean,
he's ineligible.
He's ineligible this week?
Yeah, not only would it be unlikely, but he is ineligible. But I have Ertz in a couple of my lineups, and I was hoping to get some double points there possibly.
That's what I'm saying. Let's double dip there real quick. Exactly. All right, so yeah, look, guys, we're going to keep it short and sweet with tight end because feel free to stack and play any way you want, but those are the 3 guys that we really, just can't see ourselves not taking at that position.
All right, let's
defenses this week, man.
Very
it's tough. I don't feel safe anywhere outside of the Rams, and I don't have the money to pay $4,700 for their defense. Yeah. For me, so I kind of feel like I'm taking that stance that all these other analysts and guys are doing. It's just I'm just doing the punt play. For me, it's $2,100. The Detroit Lions against the Bengals. Since his offensive line isn't good, I can see Detroit stealing a couple sacks here, and I mean I hope they cause a turnover, and that's really where I'm at. I didn't love anything all the way up, and so for me, I just saved the money and put it into my position players.
Yeah, I got a couple other plays. Obviously, I do think the Rams are the safest, but even from a making value standpoint, let alone us affording it, I don't think they make value for $4,700 there. Interesting one if you're going to spend. I do like the Colts at $3,500. I thought they looked much improved against the Ravens, even with the collapse that happened. They do look good, have a great matchup with Houston. Interesting to me, still overpriced there. Number one game I'm playing for defenses is I'm actually going to $2,900, and I like the Vikings or the Panthers. They're obviously playing each other. Either way, depends exactly how you think that game's going to go. I've found myself playing more of the Vikings. Darnold's been a little more turnover prone here. The Vikings in real football have looked pretty good as far as points given up. They're tightening up. I have no problem kind of riding the wave there, hoping that Darnold continues some of his turnover woes and playing at $2,900. I like the Vikings there. That's been probably my most popular defense. But I will come out and say it. Shitty week for defenses. I don't have a good read on it. Don't have a high confidence level in anything here. So Vikings my number one play, but if you have a gut feeling about something, go with it. It's a very hard week to play defenses.
Yeah, not loving anything really. So yeah, I took the punt play. You got a couple plays there in the middle, but for me, this week I put my defense in last just to see what kind of money I got left over and went from there. So look, guys, I hope you guys have a good week. Like we told you in the pre-show, last week you saw some historic DraftKings scores. We really see this thing coming back down to earth this week. Not everybody's going to go off like they did last week. So, hopefully you pick your spots right, and yeah, let's get in the green. We'll get back with you guys, kind of wrap up the week. All right.